Hey guys, welcome to another video. If you're new here, hello, I'm down here. My name is Kelly. Today's video is all about my blushes, bronzers, and highlighters. I did film a video toward the end of 2020 where I was ranking all of my blushes, bronzers, and highlighters, so I'll link that up in the cards if you're interested in checking that out. But since doing that video, I have added a few new products to my collection, and so in the month of January, I am doing a whole month of nothing new, where we're not talking about new makeup and we're not talking about new makeup products, but we're actually taking a look at our collection and diving in and using what we already have. So I thought that the month of January would be a good time to show you my makeup collection, show you what I have, go through. You can see, do I have a ton of makeup? Yes, I do. But is it the largest collection that you're going to see here on YouTube? No, it's not. I like to keep my makeup collection just kind of to fit me. I like to have a lot of makeup. I mean, I definitely can't use and go through all of this, but I also don't want it to be out of control where I'm neglecting my makeup products. So I'm just going to go through. I'm going to show you all of my bronzers, blushes, and highlighters. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be swatching today. I know that sometimes people really like seeing swatches and they like seeing how everything looks on the skin, but in full transparency, I'm just getting over being sick and I still feel like I might have germy hands, so I don't want to get my germs and everything, and I don't want this video to be super long. I just want it to be a casual get together, show you what I got, and talk about makeup that's in my collection. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the video. Okay, hopefully I stay in focus. My autofocus is really loud, so I've turned it off. But let's start with bronzers. I don't have a ton of them, but I do have a few to share with you. This one is a mini. It's the Marc Jacobs, oh gosh, what's it called? The Tantastic? The Omega Bronze Tantastic. This is a little mini. It came in a set with their mascara. I had been wanting to try this out because a ton of people rave about this bronzer on YouTube, and I don't know if the mini is formulated differently, but I don't love it. I am very, very fair-skinned, as you can see, and this just does not show up that well on my fair skin. I typically use this for a contour, so I go in with a more pointed contour brush. I put a little bit of product onto my cheeks and I put it right in the hollows of my cheeks, and I found that that is what works best because for me, it just doesn't show up very good. And I was kind of disappointed and also very surprised because I know that there are people with darker skin tone than mine, like my friend Yadi from Yadi Beauty. She has more of a medium skin tone and she loves this bronzer. But for me, it's not a complete miss. I'm glad I didn't spend my money on it and I wouldn't purchase it, but it just doesn't show up that well on my skin tone. Another mini, you will find lots of minis in my collection because I love a good mini, but this is the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Bronzer in Luminous Bronze Light. Now this one I definitely use as a bronzer. I do not use this to contour. You do get a little bit of a sheen with it. I don't want to say a shimmer. It looks like there are flecks of glitter when you look at the product, but there's really not. It doesn't transfer onto my skin that way. You do get a sheen, so that's why I said this is more of a bronzer than a contour shade, but I like to follow this up after my contour. It gives me a nice flush to the skin. I don't know if you can tell how much I've used. I mean, this was my only bronzer for a really long time, and I don't have a huge dent in it, so I think this is something that I really want to work on maybe hitting pan in this year. I don't want to get too ambitious, but I mean, it's a mini. Come on, I got to be able to pan this. I do really like it. I wouldn't say that it's like my favorite overall, but it's a good bronzer. I do enjoy it. The next bronzer that I have is an Ofra Cosmetics bronzer. It was in collaboration with Samantha March, and it's the Bronzer Duo in River. Now this bronzer is the opposite of the Marc Jacobs. The Marc Jacobs, I said, didn't really show up on my skin. I get great pigmentation with this bronzer. You do have a matte side and then a side that has more of a sheen to it. I want to say that this gives me more of a satin finish. It's not like a chunky, glittery sheen, so I do appreciate that. I like more of a matte bronzer, but when I do use this, I don't use it as a contour, I use it as a bronzer, and I just kind of mix the two together. It gives me a little bit more of a sheen than my Hourglass, but you could just dip into the matte side if you wanted to, and if you have a deeper skin tone, you may be able to get away with this as a highlighter. So I've been enjoying this. I like the compact. I like that you get a mirror in it, and definitely get some good pigmentation with this one. Last up is my duo. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Film Star Bronze and Glow, the Face Sculpt and Highlight in Fair Medium. So this has a bronzer shade and a highlight shade. I got this a few years ago from my friend Smags, and I like to use this side as, you could use it as a contour. I typically use it as more of a bronzer, and then this highlight is more of an everyday highlight. If you do not like the BAM in your face highlights, I personally do, but if you do not like that, if that's not your style, you would like this highlighter. This is more like my day-to-day going to work highlight because it's not BAM in your face, but it does give me a nice glow. So I really like this duo. I'm really happy that it's part of my collection, and I'm a huge Charlotte Tilbury fan. Okay, let's get into blushes. I do have this Jouer blush duo. This is the one in Adore Me. So you have two blushes. Adore Me is the darker one and Hold Me is the lighter one. This is what they look like here. They are both matte blushes, I think. Sorry guys, I keep all of my plastic. Does anybody else do that? Keep the plastic inserts? I believe these are both matte. I typically mix them together. Let me look close up. I mean, it kind of looks like this one maybe has a sheen, but it's hard to tell because it could just be from my brush dipping into it. But I typically dip into both of these together. It gives me a nice neutral blush look. If I have maybe a bit of a bold eye, or I just don't know what blush to wear, this is a good one. It's not the most pigmented in my collection, but you can definitely build it up. It gives you a nice wash of color, and I've definitely enjoyed dipping into this one. I did get the whole PR set in the Ofra collab with Samantha March, so this is her blush in Chick Lit. The blush, much like the bronzer, is very pigmented. I feel like this shimmer pulls a little bit more of a shimmer than the bronzer. If you have a deeper skin tone, you might be able to use this as a highlighter, but there's a matte side and a shimmer side. I typically just take my brush and swirl it in together. It gives me a nice sheen. It's super pigmented on my skin tone. Again, love the compact. So this is a great, more of like a, I want to say it pulls more pink on me. It looks a little bit peachy on camera here, but I get more of a pink vibe from this. So I really, really enjoy this one. Man, one of the blushes that I did not expect to get, but I absolutely love and cannot stop using, is the Melt Raw Honey. This is the Digital Duo blush, and I initially put this in an anti-haul. This is an expensive blush. When I saw them, I didn't think that there would be a color match that would work for me, and then a ton of my friends got it, and they were all raving about it, so I went and picked up Raw Honey, and I love this blush. I typically mix the two shades together. It does give me a nice glowy sheen on my skin. So if you do not like a glowy blush, you will not like this blush because I do get a sheen, I do get a bit of a glow, but I find that I cannot put this down. I am reaching for this blush every single day, time and time again, which is good because it was expensive, but it definitely caught me by surprise. If you've been here for a while, you know that I am a Charlotte Tilbury fan. I have two of her blushes. This is Sex on Fire. This was my first Charlotte Tilbury blush, and the reason why I picked up this one was because it was a recommendation by Nicole Guerrero. She loved it, she raved about it. And initially I wanted Pillow Talk, but when Pillow Talk came out, it was limited edition, and I didn't get it because these blushes are $40. They're really expensive. So I ended up passing on it. It went out of stock, and I was heartbroken. So I bit the bullet and I purchased Sex on Fire after Nicole Guerrero talked about it. I love it. It's definitely much more of a mauve toned blush. You'll see that pattern here, but I do now have Pillow Talk in my collection thanks to my best friend Smags. She got this for me for my birthday. Pillow Talk has a little bit more of a satin finish or a sheen, whereas Sex on Fire pulls very matte. But you can see here there's a deeper side and then a lighter side in the middle. I just swirl my brush in and I use the two together. But I love these Charlotte Tilbury blushes. They're not the most pigmented. It does take a little bit of building up with these blushes, but I don't mind that, because sometimes I don't want my blush to be super pigmented, but I really, really love my Charlotte Tilbury formula. I have a couple drugstore blushes to show you. Most of my makeup collection is high-end, but I do have this Flower Beauty blush, I was gonna say brush, in Flower Pots? No, Sweet Pea. Okay, so it's the Flower Pots Powder Blush. That's a mouthful, say that 5 times fast. In Sweet Pea. This is more of a pinky mauve shade. It's very, very pigmented. I love this blush. It looks like it hasn't gotten a lot of love from me, but it has. So if the blushes that I am mentioning are out of your price range, this is another one in the same color family, kind of like a mauve-y toned blush that I really, really do enjoy. I also recently picked up the Essence blush. This is in the shade Befitting. And I don't think I've used this yet. This is newer to my collection. It's just going to be more of a natural mauve tone. But yeah, it doesn't look like I've used this one, so definitely need to get on that. 2 more blushes that I know I have not used yet are these Buxom blushes. If you caught my Black Friday haul that I posted at the end of December, you'll see that I picked these 2 up when they were half off. This is in the shade Dolly. I have heard so many people talking about these blushes for so long, and they've been on my wish list to get. If you didn't get a chance to get them during the Black Friday sale when they were like $10 or $11, try and hold out for the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, because I think that these do go on sale there. So this is more of a deeper mauve tone, and then this is the one that everybody I feel like talks about in Seychelles, where this is more of a like tan neutral color. I would still consider it a mauve, but it definitely has more tan undertones. So here are the 2 next to each other. You can see they're both kind of in the mauve family, but Seychelles is a little bit lighter and Dolly is a little bit deeper. So I haven't used these yet, but I'm very excited that they're finally mine. I'm sitting here looking at my collection and I feel like I'm missing something. So if you know my collection, feel free to call me out. I mean, I think I pulled everything from everywhere that I could, but it still feels like something's missing. Anyway, I have this ambient lighting blush palette. It has Luminous Flush, Incandescent Electra, and Mood Exposure. So this one right here is Mood Exposure. This one is, I already forgot the name, Incandescent Electra is the orange shade. And then this one is Luminous Flush. The one that I have used the most, I don't know if you can tell, it's Mood Exposure. It looks purple, but it actually pulls kind of pink on me. I do typically mix the Mood Exposure with either the peach shade or the pink shade. I don't like oranges. So this is not a shade that I'm ever going to reach for on its own, just because that's not my personal preference. So if I do ever use it, I mix it with Mood Exposure. Typically, I use Mood Exposure on its own, but I will mix it with the pinky shades. I really like the Hourglass blush formula. These are the only blushes I have from them. I do want to try the At Night blush, but I do really like their formula. It gives me like a nice healthy glow. So I really like that with blush. I like the glowy effect. Now I think we're moving on to highlighters. I do have 2 cream products actually that I forgot about. These are minis. This is the Milk Makeup Bronzer. It's in the shade, what's it called? Baked? Yes, it's in the shade Baked. And then I have a Milk Blush in Work. So I like these. I'm not huge into cream products, but these are really, really good from Milk Makeup. So I guess I would recommend them if you're into creams. But now we have highlighters. And again, let's just go with the Ofra collab with Samantha March. This is actually called Start Inspired now, but first she came out with just the highlighter, and then her collab extended and she got more stuff. So this was her initial launch of the highlighter. And you can see it has Star Island, which is the more champagne shade, and then Pillow Talk, which is the pink. Now I do have Pillow Talk in another trio that you're gonna see in just a minute, and this one feels a little bit more pink to me, but I think it's still Pillow Talk. I love the Ofra formula. I think it's amazing. The Ofra formula definitely gives you more of like a bam in your face kind of highlight though. Let's just stick with Ofra. Here is the Feeling Myself highlighter trio that I was talking about. Again, I kept the plastic insert, but this is in Blissful. This one's Pillow Talk. Sorry, can you see? Blissful, Pillow Talk, Rodeo Drive. I think I might be close to hitting pan on Rodeo Drive. I reach for this trio more than any other highlighter in my collection. I love the Ofra highlighters. They are very bam in your face. I would love to hit pan on one of them because I use them so much, but I do really enjoy them, and I like to take this little palette traveling. Now they do still have this palette. I think it was limited edition when I got it in the black packaging, but now they have it in white packaging, and I actually like the white packaging better. I do have two Natasha Denona highlighters. The first one is this Super Glow highlight. This is in the shade Fair. I love their highlighter formula. This was new to my collection. It was a birthday gift. I borrowed my friend Smags and I fell in love with it, because every time I would compliment her highlight, she would say that it was this highlighter. It just looks like her face is glowy. It's not streaky. It definitely gives you a nice pop, but there's no glitter chunks. And I really, really do love the Natasha Denona formula. I love it so much that I got the I Need a Nude Glow. All of my friends were talking about this. I initially was not going to pick it up, but it's just so beautiful. I love it. I know my friend Ashley Clady mentioned that it is too deep on her skin tone and she's very fair. I'm also fair, but I'm not having a hard time getting this to work for me. But if you are very, very fair, just beware. Maybe try and find a friend that you can swatch it and see if it works for your skin tone. But whoa, it's just started raining outside. Is that rain or is that hail? You guys, I think it's hailing outside, which is weird because I live in Texas. But if you have fair skin tone, beware, but I really love this highlight and it does work for me. I have an OG old formula of the Makeup Geek. This is their Duochrome highlighter in Lit. I had a pink one too, I think it was called Luster, that I decluttered just because I wasn't using it. But I like this Duochrome because it gives you like champagne, but peach, but green. I don't reach for this often, but when I do reach for it, I get a ton of compliments on it. So I do really like this highlighter. I like that it's a duochrome and it'll definitely stay in my collection. I have 3 Becca Saucers. The OG was my only highlight for a really long time. Again, I keep those little plastic inserts, y'all. This is the Becca highlighter in Champagne Pop. It was their collaboration with Jaclyn Hill. I think since then, Jaclyn Hill's name is no longer on this collab, but she did initially collab with them and create this color. As you can see, it's the only one that I have pan on because this was my only highlight for a really, really long time. I don't find myself reaching for it very often these days, but I just keep it around because it's still a great champagne shade, a great like everyday champagne shade. I also have this little mini in Vanilla Quartz. I had the mini in Opal too, and I got rid of it because Opal was a little bit deeper on my skin tone than Vanilla Quartz. So I ended up decluttering Opal. I think I gave it to one of my girlfriends. I kept Vanilla Quartz. I like the Becca formula. It's not my favorite. I think Ofra has taken its place, but it's a really, really good formula and it gives you a bam in your face highlight. My last Becca Saucer was again in collab with Jaclyn Hill, and it was when she came out with those little duos. So this is Prosecco Pop. I don't use it because it is too deep on my skin tone, but I love the blush in Amaretto. I probably should have showed you this with my blushes because this is what I use. I don't use Prosecco Pop, I use Amaretto. And I wish I could have gotten it not in a split pan because I never was really interested in Prosecco Pop, but I really like this blush. It's a great everyday shade. It's a nice neutral color and it goes with any eye look. So I definitely love it, although I don't think that you can get this anymore. And that is going to do it for this video. These are my blushes, bronzers, and highlighters. I hope that you enjoyed seeing a little peek into my makeup collection. If you did enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any of these and what you think about them. And knowing my style now. If you have any recommendations, I am open to hearing them. Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to have you subscribe and stay a while, become part of the K Bella fam. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye. So